Okay, that was a little fingerstyle piece to introduce this next session on picking, and on that I used a capo, which is a way of shortening the string length. It means I can play the same basic A minor shapes, but they're coming out with a different sound, in this case in B minor. We'll talk about that in some future series. What I want to do now is to look at a slightly different way of using the right hand fingerstyle. Rather than simply playing arpeggio notes or individual notes as we talked about before, you can play, for example, two notes together. And the advantage of fingerstyle over the pick is that the pick, generally speaking, plays the full chord, parts of the chord, or arpeggios, single notes. With the fingerstyle, you can pick out different groups, or you can even pick out different lines. This type of thing. You can do something with a pick, but we're not going to discuss it on this module, called hybrid picking, where you pick with a combination of fingers and this kind of thing. But we'll talk about that in some future lessons. For the purposes of the up-and-coming picking piece which I'm going to give you, what I want you to get into the habit of doing is to be able to play a bass note and then some other note with that. In this case, it's an A and an A G and a G, an F and an A, and then an E and a G sharp. This is an introduction to it. Normally, you would play the bass notes with the thumb, A, G, F, E. And for the purposes of this particular exercise, it's fine to pick out the notes with the index finger. The general guideline is that you alternate the fingers. And in classical playing, this is something that you would always do as a matter of course. But as I say, what I'm trying to get you used to is just this idea of hitting two notes together. And then once you're comfortable with that, you could look at introducing the arpeggio, then the G, then the F, then the E. Now I've given you one new shape that we haven't actually covered, and that's this F shape. And the best way to think about this F position, it's using an A minor shape, but what's actually happening is I'm changing the fingering a little bit. So this first finger is moving across to the F, and this remains the same. This one remains stationary on the A. The second finger moves over to the C. So it's giving us that kind of configuration. That one may give you a little bit of trouble. You might have to work on that. But if you work on that simple exercise, that'll give us an opportunity to develop a little piece which you can play at the end of the lessons, and you'll be able to have that under your belt.